All right, so this is kind of a cool conversation to have this afternoon. Selecting a name for the Churchill building. I know that we have a list of some names here, and actually, there's a couple of them that I'm completely fine with. Would Ms. Sarah, would you like for us to have a motion made today to go ahead and suggest one? How would you suggest we do that, or just hash it out?
I'd like for you guys to name the building today, if that's okay. We would have to have another meeting if you don't. I spoke with the attorney. He should have everything, we should close within 3 weeks, maybe sooner. He's saying 3 weeks, just to make sure. So, we'll have to turn all the utilities on, and I'd like for the building to have a name when we do that.
What about Nancy Barker?
I suggested
At the rate I'm going this week,
how about Nancy Kenner?
Nancy Kenner. Sarah gave me a key at the Kenner house and had to put Nancy Kenner on it. She said, don't let me lose the key, they won't build it.
I could put Kenner House on there.
Miss Sarah mentioned that the word satellite. I don't like the word satellite either.
Okay, so let's just cross that one off if you want to.
There's two of them.
Chairman, I like number 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do too. Actually, that was the one that I was on the preference of.
East Hawkins County.
East Hawkins County Complex. It's
The reason
simple.
why I say that, I think we need to designate when it is East Hawkins County, because people ask you to say the county complex work. That's my feeling.
Okay.
So we need to have, you don't think we need to have the word office in there? We just think complex is enough.
Well,
I think,
fourth one down, it would take in, I mean, it's gonna be a long name, but it would have more, it's gonna have more than one office, and the sheriff's gonna have a satellite there. The trustee will be there, what, about 3 months a year, and then county court clerk, of course.
I don't disagree with that, but I feel like the word complex is going to cover a lot of bases.
Yeah, I think it will too.
Well, I tell you what.
Is that your recommendation?
And after everybody gets to know, you know, within a year, everybody's gonna know where you're gonna get your tags and everything else, so I wouldn't see a problem with it. That, Hawkins County, East Hawkins County Complex,
Yeah.
I'll put that in the form of a motion.
All right. Charlie Thacker has made a motion. We'll need a second.
I'll second that.
Mr. Gibson has seconded the motion. Any further discussion about that name?
So that's East Hawkins County Complex.
Yes.
Okay, we will present that as a resolution to the full commission in March.
Okay. All in favor of recommending that the new building be called the East Hawkins County Complex, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Now, of course, when I get complaint calls, who does it make a motion, Charlie?
Charlie.
I'll forward them over to
We
Charlie.
had east and east.
Yeah.
I think that's a good name. Okay, item number 5, Churchill Building roof. Ms. Sarah, would you like to?
Yes, when the inspector was there, of course, he said that we needed to have the roof looked at, that we probably needed to replace that roof. So my question to you is a simple one. Do we want to do that now, or do we want to wait until we start having issues? He tested all the areas that had previously leaked, and they were totally dry. So it had been some time since it had leaked. And we had a lot of rain.
So it's
during
already
that time.
patched, is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yes.
that's not an issue.
So we're not leaking right now. So it may last another year. It may start leaking next month. But if we're going to look at replacing it, do you want to do it now? or
Well,
do
the
you
thing
wanna do it
is,
later?
and I'm gonna recognize Mr. Thacker because he probably has more expertise in this than anybody. Materials are just going up. I mean, if we wait a year, the chances of construction materials going up is going to, they probably will. So I don't know. Mr. Thacker, do you have any?
Well, we're doing a $50,000 job as we speak, for the city of Kingsville. It's the building out on, I don't know what, 93, just going toward Paul Branch, the soccer field building. It had standard seamless metal on it. We're taking all that off, and we're putting the regular 3-foot metal on, but it's 26 gauge metal. Same thing the standard seamless metal is. Now, you can, if you get it up close enough, pass that round. That, we've got half the front done right now. But if I replace that building, I don't know what I would go back with regular 26 gauge metal to 3-foot wide rather than a standard seamless.
I guess my question for you, Mr. Thacker, is do you believe that we need to move forward with that now, or is it?
Metal came back down, about 3 weeks ago on Tuesday, but they said it could be going back up.
Well, you all know that there's a flat roof on that.
I'm gonna pass out my photos,
But-
and discuss it.
The facade is metal.
Yeah.
It's not really a roof.
Look at that, pass it.
But we're wondering, could it be made into a roof as far as bringing it on up and make it, and just covering that flat roof? Because we know flat roofs are problematic.
The green roof.
So probably
That's the way it looks.
we'd like to get, if we're gonna move forward with replacing it, an architect to look at it and tell us what the best route would be. That facade has a lot of framework underneath
This
it.
is the Photoshop.
That if you put a flat roof in there, it's gonna have to be flashed around every one of those support posts. So, and there's a couple of different considerations we could look at if you all wanna move forward with replacing it. That picture, go ahead and explain that picture, sir.
We took pictures of the building and the mark, removed the roof to show you what it would look like without the facade on there, and I think it actually looks pretty good, a lot better than I expected it to. The thing is, if you'll look at the second page of the pictures I'm passing around, that facade goes over the entire roof except for that dark place right there is the only place that it doesn't cover. So it's almost a roof with a hole in the top of it. It doesn't go all the way to the end. So when my architect was here the other day, we were discussing, I just showed him pictures of it. I said, would you mind looking at pictures of this while you're here? He thinks that if we decide to replace it, then we can use what's there, add to it, and just put a metal roof on it and be done with the membrane. The roofer I had to come out and look at it suggest taking the facade completely off. He said the facade was doing nothing but hurting the membrane because
You're
it
talking
keeps
about
it damp.
here, right in front.
The standing green and blue pieces. I don't think it's on that picture.
Anyway, the architect thinks he can take what we have and make a regular roof out of it, but we're gonna have to move the HVAC unit down on the side of the building. We've checked, there is room over there to do that. And it would be better than having a membrane roof with the HVAC unit on the top. But if we're gonna move forward with this, what I would like to do is hire the architect and let him go up there and see what our best option would be.
See, in my opinion, I would like to see what options we have before we say we're gonna move forward. Because I think it depends on, are we gonna be able to add to it, or we're gonna have to take it from looking at, to me, before I wanna say, let's move forward with replacing the lights that are off. So,
Well, we're gonna have to hire an architect
anyway,
anyway.
so can we just,
So my question was today, do we wanna do that now, or do we wanna wait until we start?
just do like a study to see what we can do before we
We could probably do that, just have the architect to go up there and give us some
give
options.
some options.
I don't think metal prices are gonna go increase that much. They came down 40 cents foot. So if they went back up even 15, 20 cents on the linear foot, the way to buy that, then it's still not gonna be near where it was started. I mean, if we waited a while,
I think we should have it looked at by someone who's professional, give us some options, and then come back and let us make a decision at the next local building committee on which option we'd like to take.
Okay.
So, do you need a motion made for that to happen?
I do not. I think we can, to get the architect to go, hire the architect to go up there. See, this is the unit, and see how, I mean, it's almost a roof. And to put a membrane under this is gonna be extremely expensive, because it's gonna be very tedious to get under there. Plus, everything's gonna have flashing around it that goes into the membrane. So the roofer said, tear that off, or make that a roof. So, but we need an architect to tell us if the building can take the load.
I think if you go with a pitched roof, you're gonna be a lot better off than they are with one that's, flat roofs.
I agree.
So,
Mark even put a sign on there, you see that? We didn't know what to call it yet, so we just called it Hawkins County.
Okay.
So we'd be thinking about just covering the hole in the middle.
Pardon me?
We just be talking about the architect.
If the architect thinks that's feasible, yes,
But you have to remember, Robbie, the panels don't come all the way down to the
to the
eaves.
side, and it doesn't have gutters. So we would have to put gutters on it as well, if we, made the roof a pitched roof. But he can go up there and look at it, he can tell us what our cheapest roof would be and the best way to go. And if we can use that, he seemed, just to look at the pictures in my office, he said they had almost had a roof.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the HVAC unit that they didn't wanna move, but we found a spot for it on the ground, so that's really not gonna be an issue. But we will call him and get that started, okay?
Moving on to item number 6, termination of the agreement with City of Churchill and Hawkins County. And we have a document.
Yeah, I can. We had, of course, a while back, talked with Mayor Deal in Churchill about, the possibility of us leaving that building to them. They've agreed to do so. You see the verbiage in front of you. Got a signed, a scanned signed copy that Mayor Deal had signed, and it's notarized, and they're mailing us the original. But all we'll have to do then is I'll sign it, and we'll take it to the full commission in March. Pretty clean, cut and dry. We're done, they're in charge, and that's the way we all wanted it, so.
So by the first day of September 2023. So
Yeah,
we've got it until September.
that's what's in the, yeah, we can be there till 1st of September. And that should be ample time. I mean, once we get everything on the inside ready to go, we can start moving in. But we can't do that yet because it's not closed.
Would that like take into effect if that happened before September 1st? Does it happen the day we vacate, or how would that work?
I'm sorry, Jim.
So it's saying no later than the first day of September, you said that should be more than ample time for us to move.
Yeah.
If we're out by May 1st.
Yeah, that's
does that like end the agreement that day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
would be
this is just
responsible.
no later than Dave.
We wouldn't be responsible for any other financial responsibilities once we're out. If it happens in May.
Right.
That's,
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve number 6.
Mr. Charlie Thacker has made a motion to approve the termination agreement between the City of Churchill and Hawkins County. Is there a second? Nancy Barker seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Sarah, would you go ahead and do a roll call?
Sure. John Gibson,
yes, ma'am.
Tom Kern,
Yes.
Charlie Thacker,
Yes.
Josh Gillum,
Yes.
Jason Roach,
Yes.
Nancy Barker,
yes.
Ronnie Palmer.
Yes.
Motion carries.